This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Prime.
Online grocery platform, one that is bucking the trend even as other competitors hit one bump after another. So what is keeping Big Basket in the news for all the right reasons? Joining me now, Vipul Parekh, co-founder, chief finance officer and chief marketing officer at Big Basket. Mr. Parekh, thanks so much for speaking to us. Up first, you are from the Indian Institute of Management, one of India's most coveted institutions. You're also a master's in physics and have ended up, well, not as a grocer, but in the grocery business. What a journey.
Yeah, from becoming a physicist to becoming a sabjiwala, it's a very interesting journey. I think very few people get the pleasure of going from high technology or a master's in science to really starting to sell fruits and vegetables. So it's been a very interesting journey, and I think it's a story which began a long time back, and I think primarily began because in the year '99 we were actually looking at starting an internet company, which we did. It was called Fabmart.com, and it was really a horizontal e-commerce business, and which at that point in time was ahead of its times. And then we realized there was an opportunity in groceries, so we started a physical chain for groceries, and we built that business out, sold that in 2006, and then post that, when we were looking at for newer opportunities, we realized in 2011 that maybe online grocery was the way to go. So therefore, we went from being people who were actually started an online internet business, became a physical retailer, which very few people have done, and then again went back to online retail.
Right, now you moved in this space before others really got in. How much of it was foresight? What was the role sort of strategy, and how much credit would you give, say, luck?
I think very little of it is due to foresight. If I were to look back, I think '99, if I look back now, I think we started an internet business in '99, which was 10 years ahead of its time. So I would call that a remarkable lack of foresight. But I think what really helped us is obviously a combination of luck. You need to be, you need luck to keep going. But more than that, I think we had a great set of co-founders, and I think that really helped. Two, I think we had remarkable tenacity. So one of the biggest successes I think in startups is really staying the course. Is changing your business models, changing your business plan, changing your business itself, if it requires, to continue to survive and to thrive. I think we did that very successfully, and I think that's really the secret of our success more than anything else.
Now, like I said in the beginning, other players have come and gone or are struggling. What do you believe gives you the edge? What keeps you in the game, at the front of your game, really at the top of your game, so very firmly?
I think three things in my mind which really set us apart from has helped us in the past and also continues to set us apart from the competition. One is a remarkable focus on customers. And when I say remarkable, when we launched this business way back in 2011, day one we told our customers, we'll give you an on-time guarantee. If you don't deliver on time, we'll pay you 10% of the order value back. We said if you don't fill an item which is there in your order, we will actually give you 50% of the item that we don't deliver. You can return any item which you don't like and call us even after we have delivered the order, and we'll take it back free of cost. So the idea was really, and while we said all this, we honored this, and we continue to honor this today for every customer. But more importantly, I think what it did was it actually put tremendous pressure on the organization to really make sure that we deliver on this metrics consistently. So it has sort of reshaped our organization culture. It has made sure that all our teams are focused on achieving this metrics, and has made us very, very customer centric. And I think that's been the singular reason why we continue to thrive, because our customer focus allows us to retain more customers, allows us to grow our business from existing customers, allows us to get more customers because the same customers go and get more customers for us. And I think that has led to really drive this forward. The second part is really staying the course. And when I say staying the course, and I keep using this often, is really saying, what are the things that we stay focused on? It's very easy to lose sight of, when there is
there are so many players, everybody is entering the business. How are you going to differentiate yourself? What we've learned over a period of time is that if you stay committed to your goals, keep your focus on building a great customer experience, believe in your business model, and continue that. That's for a big difference. And that's what we've really done. We've stuck to our business, we executed that, we built on it, and we continue to execute on that. The third thing I think which we've done very well, and I think which is again sets us apart from the competition, is we have a great team. And I think this is a team which has stood together for a long time. The founders, we have worked together for the last 25 years together. And we have a team, a second line team, which is very committed to the organization, is extremely charged up, really works for the company and really drives, propels this business forward. So great team, staying focused on your objective and being very, very customer centric. These are really three things that set us apart.
You've talked, of course, of being 4 founders, but what about the rest of the team? I would imagine that there are hundreds and thousands of people perhaps just keeping that Big Basket team going. How difficult is it to build this team in India? How difficult has it been for you personally to put together the kind of people needed to run Big Basket and make a big success out of it?
You don't find the right people for the right job. You'll find the right people and then mold them to the right job. And that's always been my belief, and it's a different belief. So we have found people who have had nothing to do with retail. We have found people who had nothing to do with grocery and have successfully transformed them into being expert online grocery professionals. And we have found people who had no experience in marketing and have done marketing, people who have no experience in operations and have moved from different locations and done operations. And I think what matters, and this is something which you learn for a startup, is really having the right attitude, really having the right spirit, being able to commit themselves, being natively intelligent and being able to adapt and thrive. I think these are the qualities that we seek for. And when people have these qualities, what we notice is that they perform exceedingly well. And they continue to thrive, they adapt, they actually train themselves, they excel, and they really perform very, very well.
So fair then to say that there's no dearth of potential in India?
Absolutely none. In terms of intellect, in terms of commitment, in terms of energy, you find some of the best professionals in this country than you'll find anywhere else in the world. And I have the chance to look at, meet a lot of people across the world in different companies, and I find the passion, the intellect that we bring to bear on this is just amazing.
And how do you see the India story? There's been so much focus on the difficulty of doing business, how we figure so poorly on sort of the ease of business, the ease of doing business in India. We know that recently we did well in the Global Competitive Index, but how do you sort of see the ability to do business in India? How difficult is it for an entrepreneur like yourself?
Actually, I know, people keep talking about how tough it is to be in India. I think people forget that one of the best markets to be an entrepreneur in India is India today. I think there is no better market. And I've spoken to entrepreneurs across the world. You don't find a market size this large. You don't find a market which is so underserved. You don't find a market which is so ripe for the taking. You don't find a market where customers are so receptive, they are willing to give you a favorable hearing. And that happens very, very rare. At the time that we are in today, at the age that we are in, the kind of population that we have, the economy that we are faced with today, which is growing very well, it is an absolutely fertile market for any entrepreneur. And I think if for that you have to face the challenges of being in India, which is poor infrastructure, in that sense 32 states, all behaving very differently, different geographies, I think those are challenges that entrepreneurs can work around. First, the biggest thing that an entrepreneur needs is the market. The second thing they need are people that they can serve the market with, and third is that the ideas that they can actually work with. And I think all these three, India is probably the most fertile market in the world. It's probably the best place to be an entrepreneur. It's the best place to be an entrepreneur. Given a choice, if I were to present it with all the list of countries in the world, I would probably pick India.
And how do you see this new crop of entrepreneurs? It's, of course, very mainstream to be an entrepreneur now, especially if you have an engineering degree behind you, if you are a techie, and the IIT IIM brand, of course, going very well together as far as our entrepreneurs are concerned. But how do you suss them out?
I think I see a lot of energy. People are really enthused with the idea of entrepreneurship, and I think they're coming. And the one thing with difference that I see, and that's happening to a lot of entrepreneurs coming today, they're coming in with their eyes wide open. One, they are not afraid to fail. They know there's a good chance that they will fail, but they know that they accept that. They are not deterred by it. They're saying, okay, fine, it doesn't matter if it fails. I'll start again. I'll do something else. So therefore, you have these people who are coming in with their eyes open. Second, they are much smarter. They've learned from previous generation entrepreneurs. They speak to them, they work with them, they go forward, get mentorship, speak to corporate professionals, do a lot of homework before they get in. And this is true for most of them. And therefore, they bring a lot to bear before they are starting off. So they are starting off in a far more organized fashion. they've already collected a lot of data, they understand what the challenge is likely to be in their market, so they are well prepared to face the market. So both in terms of awareness of what entrepreneurship entails, which is hard work, maybe lack of salary, lack of any definite success, I think they are aware of that. Second, being better prepared, I think they're much better prepared. And I think they're also all willing to go the extra step, of willing to take a gamble on ideas which are hitherto not been seen. So while we keep highlighting all the Me Too's and say, okay, look at the fact that we have a US clone here, but the fact is there are so many original ideas that I see today which don't exist anywhere in the world, and we don't talk about them, but those are equally high in number. So I think I see a very promising future for the country, especially where entrepreneurship is concerned. You're seeing a lot more newer ideas, a lot more original businesses coming up, and I think we'll see the impact of these businesses over the next decade, and I think they'll transform the way our country is.
But when you were that age, how tough was it for you personally? What really was the toughest bit about putting together Big Basket for you?
I think for us the toughest part was we believed the market was there. Nobody else did. And so, and the issue was, online grocery is not the most popular business anywhere in the world. Nobody's really done it very successfully. When we started off, there was one spectacular failure almost more than a decade back called Webvan. And Webvan sort of, wrote the cover story on online and doom. And therefore, it became the highlight saying, how can e-commerce company get it so wrong, lose billions of dollars and completely wipe business out or industry out. So therefore, when we started out, our biggest challenge was really telling people, and employees and future employees and investors and customers saying, we are here for to stay. We believe that this market will work. We think this is a good business. It can be made to work in India. There is a real need for it in India. And very few people really believe this. And I think that was really the single biggest challenge that we had when we started out.
I guess convincing people about an idea that's way ahead of its time is never going to be easy. But there are the cynics who say that this is going to be like the dot-com bubble. How do you believe that the startup phase that India is at present is different? Is it a bubble really? You've seen that and you're sort of living this as well.
Oh, it is not. I can most certainly assure you it is not. It is very different from what it was before. I remember that earlier dot-com bubble because we were part of it. And we went through that experience and it was all focused on eyeballs. There was no real business in that sense. There were no major customers online. We had less than 1 million population online. Today, most of the generation is online. And if you look at it increasingly, whether you look at T2 cities or Tier 3 cities or you look at hinter towns, everywhere customers are online today. Thanks to the mobile, it's a completely different market that we are addressing. So what has changed remarkably is the size of the market that we are addressing. The market has grown 1,000 times or 5,000 times compared to the dot-com bubble. So therefore, you have real customers now, and therefore there's a potential to build a real business. That is one. Second, I think what people have got enamored of, and I have therefore started calling it dot-com bubble, is the valuations. If we are talking 15 billion, 10 billion, 5 billion, the billions floating around. Having said all that, forget the valuations for a minute because these are investors taking a gamble on what they think potentially the company could be worth. In that sense, it's a bit of crystal ball gazing. But the fact is that all the large internet businesses today have millions of customers. If you look at the top 10, 15 internet businesses in India, they all have more than 1 million customers each. And that's substantial. Even with all that, we're still just touching the tip of the iceberg. I think there is still a long way to go. Third, I think people forget is that the internet business is relatively very new in India. It's just about 5-6 years old, really. If you look at Alibaba, when they really achieved scale, they were about 16 or 18 years in the business before they really achieved that size and before they became salient. So you have to give this business time. If you look at the large physical retail business, they've been around for 15-20 years, right? And then they've achieved a salience where the internet business is already reaching those kind of revenues. So therefore, give it a little more time, and I think you'll realize that we are building very large, very strong powerhouse businesses, which are really going to redefine the business landscape in the country. So there is no bubble. The bubble is really in terms of valuations. Valuations can go up and down. It's like the share market. It goes up, it comes down, and I don't think you should really worry about that. There is no bubble in terms of the fact that there are real businesses being built on top of real customer franchise.